I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 184 with Genia. Um, what are you reading? I just read The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. I've been saying her name wrong all these years, even though I've been reading her books. Um, I literally just finished it this morning, and Genia, I said accept. So hopefully it'll work. I'll also invite you. Oh, you joined. Wonderful.
Hi,
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's a sunny day.
Good.
I'm sitting in front of a window and a ring light, so I feel especially illuminated.
It's amazing what those lights do. My
Yeah,
light off, sometimes goes off in the middle, and you're like,
I'm
oh,
going to
okay.
try and adjust the
Oh,
volume
okay.
because
Can
it
you not hear me?
seems I can, but it's very
Oh,
quiet. Uh,
okay. Oh, is it me? Let me try.
no, it's me.
Okay. Is that
Oh,
any better?
yeah, now my ears hurt. Wait a second. Sorry.
I'll try not to laugh too loud.
That's better. No, I listen to podcasts in order to fall asleep, and I put them on as quiet as possible. That's perfect.
And do you listen to murder podcasts? Because I know a lot of people do, which I find just, I don't know how, but people find it comforting.
I try to find that sweet spot between titillating and
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I usually fall asleep and then I wake up 2 hours later and I have to scroll back and try and find a place I recognize to continue listening for another 5 minutes before I fall asleep again. So.
Whatever works. Sleep is precious. Well, thank you for joining me. I feel like I know you because of all of our Instagram interactions, but it's nice to actually speak with you. So I'm glad you're
Same,
here.
and thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. And you just got back from a trip to London to see your daughter. How incredible.
Was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for those that don't know, our daughter is a multimedia artist, and she did an hour-long performance at Tate Modern, which was just incredible and thrilling, and
Yes.
made us so proud. And I ended up staying 3 weeks, and it wasn't really long enough, and I'm still not really here yet because Switzerland and especially Lucerne, where I live, is very quiet,
Mhm.
small and quiet,
Mhm.
and
Very different from London.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've lived all over. I mean, at least from your poem, you started out in Canada. Anyway, we can talk about it if you want, but I love
Sure.
part of the reason I love hearing these poems is it's a constant reminder that, each of us has a story. And when we're interacting with people in life, everyone's showing up with their own history. And I really appreciate that reminder that everyone has a complex story that they're walking around with. So, um, if there's anything else you want to say, go right ahead. If not, please read your poem.
I was just thinking about what you said, and I just wanted to say that it's wonderful how we can all
Yeah.
connect over the internet.
Yeah.
It's all my friends are somewhere else.
Yeah.
So,
I've made
yeah.
some really treasured friends
Hmm.
through social media, and I don't think I would have ever started this series if it hadn't been for the pandemic and just being isolated and wanting to connect with people.
I'm glad you did.
Me too.
So I'm going to try and read my poem.
It's a poem.
Um,
Don't use quotes.
I'm another one of those writers who say I'm not a poet.
Yes. Hmm.
So here goes,
Yeah.
because this is where I'm from.
Mhm.
I am from hot water bottles, from Vick's Vaporub and Ozonol ointment. I am from cracked concrete sidewalks, bubblegum wads flattened by tricycle wheels, no longer pink but gray. I am from dandelions, grass boulevards, and old elm trees, green crowns that graze the blue of the sky. I'm from embroidered sofa pillows and pursed lips, from Taras Yuri and Daria Olha. I'm from the painter of gilded icons and the keeper of secrets, from Speak Ukrainian and Cross Your Ankles. I'm from impenetrable Old Church Slavonic, Sunday hats and white gloves, winged guardian angel by my side. I'm from Lviv, Stanyslaviv, and Winnipeg, smetana and borscht, vinegar on chips. From tutus and pointe shoes my mother abandoned. The kidney stone my father passed the day I was born. 6 silver maca spoons that crossed borders and an ocean. Only 4 remain. I misplaced one. My children lost another. Reci nabuti, my mother would have said. Acquired items, transient material things.
Thank you. This is beautiful. Um, so it was. I just read a book by Louise Erdrich, and she sets all of her books kind of in North Dakota, which is not so far from Winnipeg. And she was talking about dandelions and how
Mm-hmm,
they're the weed that everyone sort of gives up on hating because they're just hopeful and beautiful. And it made me think of that in your
mm-hmm.
poem that you remember those. And are you a multi-generational dancer then? Your mother was also a teacher.
My mother was a ballet dancer in Lviv, in Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
and her father was an actor. Her grandfather was an actor, and it just goes back and back on
Mm-hmm.
that side of the family, theater people and musicians and composers. And so it's sort of
That's beautiful.
a lot of people ask me if I was born in
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine, but I wasn't. I was born in Winnipeg
Mm-hmm.
um, after my parents came as refugees after the Second World War.
Mm-hmm.
But our home was very Ukrainian with the language and the food and the embroidered
Mm-hmm.
things, the sofa pillows and things. And it was good to know where I came from, but it was also jarring um, to have one culture at home and another outside. And because of very large Ukrainian community in Winnipeg, I often felt, I don't really want to say stifled, but I felt forced to be
Mm-hmm.
something that was expected of me. So I left very early. I left when I was 20 and I
Mm-hmm.
came to Europe to dance.
I think that's a theme that a lot of immigrant literature explores, and I've always really enjoyed that because I think many of us feel that in our lives in different ways, where we kind of have to be different people, different places. And I think that experience you're talking about is that writ large, right? Like you truly
Mm,
had to be a different person, different places. And that is, I think often in that literature, you don't feel yourself fully anywhere. And I certainly uh,
mm,
wrestled with that when I was young, where it was like, who am I? Uh, because when you are changing, depending on your environment, sometimes it can make you wonder who you are, who you would choose to be if given the opportunity to choose.
we need to be allowed to find out who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the same for everyone, whether they're immigrants or not.
Yeah,
And I feel that children will fulfill expectations even when they're not verbalized.
yeah,
And it's so difficult as a parent not to push and
yeah.
tweak and make suggestions. It's one of the hardest things that I found in parenting was to step back, and I still struggle with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a journey, right? And you try to learn from your own experiences and get better. But of course, you feel like, oh, I have wisdom and experience. I want them to benefit from my wisdom and experience. But
I
you can't.
find my sorry,
No, go ahead.
I find my children benefited more from my mistakes because I was so vocally sharing them.
I think it's good to share. I because I do think also, your parents are older. They seem like they know a lot, and I know that sometimes young people can struggle with thinking like we have it all figured out when obviously we don't, and we're still working on it. So I do think I try to share my mistakes too. Like, you know, well, I'm always evolving. I don't have anything figured out. It's not, there's no, I think when I was younger, I thought there was a right way to do things. And then eventually I would crack the code, where now it's like, oh, I know there's no ending other than the true end,
I feel it's a
you know,
sign of strength to be able to admit shortcomings. Mm,
and to apologize.
very much so.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that that is a gift. That is a gift my mother gave me a
Um,
month or so before she died, and I treasure that memory. It made saying goodbye and dealing with their absence so much lighter. Not easier, but I
mhm,
felt
mhm.
lighter because of that acknowledgement.
That's wonderful she was able to do that. I think that's the dream for a lot of people, that there'll be that sort of deathbed understanding.
Well, don't wait for your deathbed.
Don't wait for your deathbed.
No.
Also, don't assume it's going to happen from somebody who has been. It's not the. I'm glad you got.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that happened for you
And,
because I
and
think
it wasn't on her deathbed, so
right.
yeah, so that was nice. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
memory is quite sweet.
Right. 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 So what was it like for you writing this poem? Because it is a poem. You wrote it. So what was it
Um,
like revisiting where you're from?
I did more rewriting than I did writing, I think. As I started before I went to London, and I didn't write anything in London for 3 weeks, and it was a real reset. Um, and the difficult part is that every life has so many moments and so many items and so
Mm-hmm.
many sensory details. So it was a matter of just sort of stepping back and seeing which images came
Mm-hmm.
towards me. And somehow almost every essay I write and any piece, it always comes back to my mother the way it did at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep longing and a fear of forgetting, I think. That
How old were you when she died?
um I was 29.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm now older than she was. She was 68 when she died, and as I keep reminding my children.
Yeah, I think those are always interesting when you pass the age of like when I passed the age my
Hmm.
brother
Hmm.
was when he died, and my husband when he passed the age that his father was when he died. There's some sort of it just hits different when you
Well, I think it hits you, or at least it hit me, that well, this doesn't last forever,
yeah
because I believe it is a healthy thing to live in the moment
yeah
and stay in the
yeah
present, but a little bit of future planning, things you want to get done for me, it's to finish writing my memoir. That's like the main
Mhm.
thing. I would like to have it published before I die, so that's the main goal right now.
It is a long process oftentimes. So
And yeah, and I did start rather late because I didn't know I was a writer until I was, I guess, 62,
hmm
63. So
hmm but you're a dancer.
I've been a dancer all my life, yeah. And after I stopped dancing, I had a large ballet school here in
Hmm.
Lucerne,
Hmm.
and I did that for 26 years. And the reason I gave that up was because I discovered that I could write. I mean, I was told by a writer that I should write, and that I am a writer.
Hmm.
I would have. I don't think I would have dared have any kind of outlandish idea like that. And I enjoy it almost as much, and I would say more, or it's the same as dancing
Well,
on
that's
stage.
what I
Because
was
you're,
gonna say. That's why I said
yeah,
the thing about
yeah,
dancing, because they're both so expressive in different
and
ways, but
and
expressive.
you're when you're performing, you're alone. And writing is also reacting to rhythm and to
Mm.
of kind of a vision and music. Um, what I like better about writing is that I can be alone almost all day long. I just love that because you can't do that when you're in a ballet company. You're
No.
always with other people. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. That's good. I mean, that's wonderful. You love the solitude. I think for a lot of people, that's the thing they don't like. They don't like the
Yeah.
solitude. Yeah. So,
What about
um,
you?
good for you.
Do you,
Um, Go ahead. What were you
no,
gonna say?
do you enjoy being alone, or are you?
I enjoy it for what I mean. I'm very rarely alone, because of my family that I live with, and so when I am alone, I enjoy it. But I am certainly not a person like when people talk about writing retreats. I that doesn't. I don't think like, oh wow, that would be a dream.
Yeah.
I would love to go
Mm,
write for a week. I mean, that's just not how my life is, and uh, I'm happy with my life. So it sort of fits in
mhm.
between all the other things, and I'm sure that will change and evolve over time. But I don't look longingly at people who are off writing alone for a week and think, oh, I would love that. I don't. I would go hiking
Yeah.
maybe, and I would love that, and then I would write in between. That's what I have to think too. Oh, I guess I would sleep and I would hike and I'd read,
Hmm.
and you're not writing the whole time. You're just kind of,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
can't even imagine what a writing retreat is like. I went to scouting camp once
Hmm.
when I was about 13, and it was an absolute disaster, and I hated it so much. Plus, it was Ukrainian scouting camp, so we were forced to speak Ukrainian for 2 weeks, and they gave you negative points if they heard you speak English, because they're completely ridiculous.
There's a
But,
really, I'm going to send it to you. I don't know if you would enjoy. I can't remember the title exactly right now, but there is a graphic memoir about a girl going to Russian camp, and it's
mhm.
about her. It's very similar to what you're
Oh,
saying, and
it'll be the same.
we've read it so many times, and it is
Uh-huh.
so. It's just great. It's a
Well,
wonderful book, but I can't think of the name of it right now. But
send me
just
the title if
yeah,
you
just
think of it.
forced
Yeah.
by her family as well. Like you're gonna go and you're gonna like it and you're gonna speak Russian, and she doesn't speak great
Yeah.
Russian, which I think is pretty
Yeah.
much the case oftentimes with those camps.
My father always used to say, "You are
Yeah,
Ukrainian," and I would be thinking, "No, I'm Canadian,"
yeah.
and
Mhm.
I do feel more Canadian because that's the culture that interested me. The books I read, the
Mhm.
library,
Mhm.
my friends, and but in Canada, everybody, at least in Winnipeg, very much so, everybody came from a different ethnic
Mhm.
background. So when you went to school, you would say to the other kids in grade one, "What's your nationality?"
Mhm.
Meaning,
Mhm.
what language, what food do you eat at home, what church or temple do you go to? And
Mhm.
so,
My mom grew up in Milwaukee, and
mhm.
it was very similar.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was mostly Polish and German, and that
Right.
was
Yeah.
which are you?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's interesting how that changes over time too. Do you think Winnipeg is still like that, or was it more in your time?
Well, I haven't been back for a few years, but yeah, it's but
Yeah,
there's still a lot of Ukrainians
yeah,
there, and yeah.
yeah. So any other thoughts about the poem writing process, or did it relate to your memoir at all that you're working on? Do you touch on this?
Yeah, a little bit. The flattened bubble gum on the
Ozonol
sidewalk.
was a really great, transported me to the
Mm,
sidewalks and bubblegum of my childhood. I mean, that's part of the reason I love this because it reminds me so much of things I've
mm.
forgotten. That was a great. So you have that in your memoir.
Yeah, I peeled it off the sidewalk and put it in my mouth because I wasn't allowed to have chewing gum. Chewing gum was a big no-no. And when my mother saw me chewing on something, she said, "Where did you get that?" So I told her, and she took my hand, and we went to the corner grocery store, and so I was finally allowed to have bubble gum.
Yeah, that's a great way to get it. You definitely don't want your kids chewing that bubble gum. Did you why weren't you allowed to chew it before then? Was there a reason?
I wasn't allowed to drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
7 Up was all right because that
Yeah.
looked so pure, right?
Yeah.
Silly old-fashioned things. Yeah. Um, that's just the way it was. You know,
Right.
it's good to examine
Mhm.
what our
Mhm.
beliefs, yeah. Or
That's why I was asking, like, if you were given a reason or if it was just no. And I think
the
that was a lot of it.
reason was it was it's funny, I can't think of the English word for common. It was common to
Yeah,
chew gum. I
yeah.
wasn't allowed to
Right.
have bangs either,
Yeah.
which didn't stop me from having a pair when I was 8. Things like
Yeah.
that, the across your ankles, those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love all those details, so I'm excited to read your book when it happens. I'm cheering you on. I'm cheering
Yeah.
all of us on
Let's
to tell our stories.
manifest it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're I love what you do, Alice, and I love how you reach out to other writers and how warm and kind and supportive you are. And it means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to so many other women and writers.
It is mostly
So
women.
yeah.
there is the man every once in a while, but yes, it's mostly women.
Some men are okay.
True. Um, all the ones in my life. If you watch this, you. Um, uh, thank you. That's very kind of you to
Thank
say. I appreciate it. Um,
thank you for having me.
oh, it was a pleasure. I always try to ride the line between like, bugging people, like, please come join it because I really enjoy particularly meeting people who I've interacted with a lot. Like it's just nice to because we've interacted a lot on Instagram and it's nice to just feel like I know you better and I've spoken to you and it's nice for me. It makes Instagram a more real place like that I'm interacting with my friends
Mhm.
instead of avatars. So I appreciate you taking the time. It's nice for me. It makes my life better. So thank you.
So now you can come to
That's
Switzerland
right.
and we can meet in real
I
life.
I trust. I do want to go to Europe very much. It's been a long time, and I think I went to Lucerne briefly when I took a bus tour through
Hmm.
Europe when I was
Yeah.
18. Like one of those big old buses. That's how I went by myself. I think Lucerne is where we stopped for lunch, and I was just overwhelmed with how expensive everything was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, like I'm not getting any souvenir chocolate. I just
Yeah.
got to get the minimum to just exist for the day. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it was startling. And I'm sure it would be, especially right now, because of course the dollar is pew for
Well,
very good reasons.
if you came, I'd show you all the cheap
Do those
hacks and
exist?
tricks and tips. Yeah,
Mm,
sure. Of
that's
course.
comforting
Yeah.
to know. Because I thought like, wow, this is
Well,
surprising.
the
But it's
taxes are very
gorgeous.
low.
Oh, okay.
There are low taxes in Switzerland, and everything functions. Great healthcare system. You know,
What's that
all
like?
those
So, um,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. Uh, well, it is beautiful though, and all of your pictures are so gorgeous. Like it seems like the kind of place where, and I live in Los Angeles. There's a lot of beauty. I live near the ocean. I'm very fortunate. But it does seem like you go outside, you take a gorgeous picture. Like that's how it appears from my
It
vantage
it
point.
it, it really is like that,
Yeah.
and it's um, it's more beautiful than its postcards,
Yeah.
which is incredible because usually the postcards
Mm.
are making a place look a little bit more.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it was lovely speaking with you. Have a great evening.
Thank thank you, Allison. Bye. Do we do this?
We can, yes, let's try.
Okay. Oh, like this.
I think
I don't
that's what,
normally do this, so I
hey,
don't even know how. Oh,
hey. Thank you. All right. Bye.
bye.